My name is Ethan. Welcome to this week's edition of the Rescue Report. We have an exciting edition this week. I had a big surprise. But first, this week's kindness focus. They see us at our highest point, like when we bring a new pet into our family, and our lowest when we have to say goodbye to a pet that is crossing the Rainbow Bridge. Veterinarians have a really hard job, and they don't get thanked enough for it, for all that they do. So if you see a veterinarian this week, be extra nice to them. And now for this week's big story. I sat down with Todd Blevins, the Kentucky director of the Humane Society of the United States. He gave me an update on this year's legislative session. And he had a huge surprise for me. Hello, I'm talking to Todd Blevins, Kentucky director of the Humane Society of the United States.
Hi, Ethan. How are you?
Doing good.
Cool.
Thank you for being here today.
I am so happy to do it, and I've followed a lot of your work, and I think you're doing really great stuff.
Thank you. I have a few questions for you today.
Okay.
The first one is, what are some of the things you do as state director?
Well, that's a really good question. So, the Humane Society of the United States, who I work for, has a state director in almost every state out there. And that state director does a lot of different things. But the main thing that I and other state directors do is work to make the animal cruelty laws and other laws in the state better. So there are so many different issues that we take on at HSUS, everything from puppy mills to the fur sales to trophy hunting to all this other stuff. And that's the main thing that I do is try to make the laws better in Kentucky at the state level. And I also work with local communities around the state to help them make their own laws better, whether it's laws that have to do with leaving your dog outside or laws that have to do with community cats or anything like that. And then beyond laws, I also work with other advocates to try to help make the laws better. And then I also will often respond to individual complaints about cruelty. So if somebody calls me about a dog that maybe doesn't have shelter, doesn't have access to food or water, I will usually work with them and reach out to the appropriate law enforcement agency to try to get that situation fixed. And then one of the other really cool things that we do is we train law enforcement on different animal crimes, whether it's equine cruelty or puppy mills or dog fighting or different things like that. So that's a lot of the different things I do.
So how does Bill come along, Kentucky?
Well, so I'm glad you asked. So in Kentucky, as in a lot of other states, a bill has to be filed by a legislator who becomes known as the sponsor of that bill. And along the way, the bill will be filed to a committee. And that committee is made up of several different legislators who decide if they want to hear that bill in the committee or not. If they do want to hear that bill in the committee, then they can decide whether to support it, to vote in favor of it in committee, or they can decide not to, in which case it doesn't go beyond the committee. Now, along the way, the bill can pick up other co-sponsors. So if another legislator really likes the bill, they can choose to sign on as a co-sponsor. And you can have as many co-sponsors as people that want to to sign on. So then if the bill advances out of the committee, then it goes to the full House or Senate. And then it has another vote. And again, they can choose to support it or they can choose not to vote in favor of it. If it does advance from the floor vote, then it goes to the other chamber, the other side of the legislature. So if a bill starts in the House, then it goes to the Senate. If it starts in the Senate, then it'll go to the House. And then the same thing happens all over again. So if it starts in the House and the House passes it, it goes to a Senate committee, and then the Senate committee decides what they want to do, and so on and so forth. So once that's done, if both the House and the Senate pass a bill, it goes to the governor, and the governor can decide to sign it, at which point it becomes a law instead of just a bill, or he or she can veto it, which means that it goes back to the House and Senate, and they have to decide whether they want to pass it again to override the governor's veto, or the governor can let it become law without signing it. So those are the three options the governor has. And there's all sorts of different stuff about amendments and the number of votes needed to override a governor's veto, but I don't want to bore you with all that. That's kind of the basics of how it works.
So, would you like to give us a rundown on last year's session?
Sure. So there were lots of different animal cruelty bills filed this past session. Unfortunately, none of them really moved forward because of several different reasons, one of which is it was just a really short session with a lot of stuff going on between COVID and a budget and so much else. So there were bills on everything from something called cost of care, which is where law enforcement agencies and shelters can actually get that they don't have to pay the cost of caring for an animal that's been seized in a cruelty case. There were bills for breed-specific bans. There were bills for general animal cruelty crimes. There were bills for a lot of different things. And then there was your bill, and that bill. Well, I know you and all about that bill, but it would have made shelter and rescue pets the official state pets of Kentucky. So I know you are proud of that bill, and I know you're probably going to do it again next year if I remember correctly. So a lot of different bills. Unfortunately, nothing really moved forward, but hopefully there will be a lot more again next year.
Yep.
Oh, and I almost forgot Ethan's Law, the other Ethan's Law, who I think you also know Ethan very well.
I actually interviewed him on this exact same show.
Yeah,
You're
good
going to be on
stuff.
the same show.
Cool.
So, what are some laws you would like to see passed in the upcoming session?
Well, that's a really great question, because Kentucky is one of the worst states when it comes to animal cruelty laws. There are a lot of different improvements that need to be made. One of the biggest things that I'm focused on and that we at HSUS are focused on is the cost of care law or bill and concept I mentioned earlier, because that would really help a lot of animals, but then B, a lot of shelters and police departments and law enforcement agencies and so on. And then there are also one of the other things we really focus on is animal fighting. So Kentucky is one of the worst states for cockfighting. And so we're hoping to get those laws improved in the coming years. And then, all the other bills I mentioned. I think it would be great to see those passed, whether it's Ethan's law or your bill or, anything else. I think any progress is good progress.
So, is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, so I just wanted to say for anyone who maybe wants to get more involved to try to help make the animal laws in our state better themselves, uh, I would invite you to join our Humane Policy Volunteer Leader Program. That is for folks that really want to try to help make the laws better, not just at the state level, but maybe in their own community or even at the federal level with some of the things that Congress is doing.
Well, actually, once we get done with the rescue bill, we're actually planning on going to the national level. Once we're done with the state, we're going to go national.
Well, that's really cool. And you've got rescue dogs in the White House with Champ and Major. So that's really cool. I think that's a great idea. But if anybody is interested in that, they can reach me at Kentucky@humanesociety.org. And yeah, I think that would just be really cool if anybody's interested.
Well, that's all the questions I have for you today.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And I hope we get to talk again soon.
Well, that's all the questions I have for you today. Thank you so much for all of your help.
You are very welcome. And before I go, Ethan, I actually have something for you, if that's okay. So each year we give out an award to a person who is a humane advocate for animals. And I don't know if you can see my award here, but yeah, we would like to give our 2021 Humane Advocate Award to you, Ethan.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. And thank you for all that you do.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. But other than that, that's all I've got.
Thank you so much. I cannot tell you how honored I am to receive this award. I don't have words. I'm so happy. I just want to help make the world a better place for animals. And this is a message for the kids out there. Just because you're a kid doesn't mean you can't make a difference. We are the future leaders, and it will be up to us to change the world. This is why I want to get the junior advocacy program started. All the kids out there are going to grow up to be senators, the governors, the president. We are the next generation of hardworking people, and I want us to work hard for the animals and the environment. It is up to us. We got this. And now is time for our pet of the week. This week, I want to share Mabel again. She is still at the shelter. Please help me get her adopted. I would love for her to have a home by April 30th, which is Adopt a Shelter Pet Day. Mabel has been a year and a half at the shelter. She needs a family that is active and likes to exercise. Please share Mabel. She is a good girl that deserves a family of her very own. Well, that's it for this week's edition. Thank you for tuning in. Tune in next week when we will meet a great therapy dog who helps kids in very stressful situations. She is running for a major national award, and you can help her win. Until that time, remember, peace, love, adopt. Bye!